You're a tourist in the least likely vacation spot on Earth, North Korea. None of your friends or family thought this was a good idea. In fact, the phrase, "you're going to die," came up more than once. But your thirst for adventure won out, and now here you are, sitting in a Pyongyang hotel room waiting for your government-assigned guide to take you on a very carefully curated tour of the city. Except none of that is true. You're not just a thrill-seeking tourist, you're one of the world's best spies operating under deep cover. Your youthful appearance makes it easy to blend in. Just another traveler curious about the Hermit Kingdom, but in reality you're here on high-stakes orders, gathering critical intel for some of the most powerful nations on Earth. All you need are your orders from base, and they should be here any moment now. What's taking so long? Your eyes drift over to the boxy 1980s-looking television in your room. Do they even have Netflix here? Probably not. But there must be something to watch. And sometimes the best intelligence doesn't come from streets or informants. It comes straight from the screen. And that's exactly what we're about to uncover on today's episode of The Infographics Show. What North Korea's TV channels actually look like. The first thing you're going to notice is that there isn't nearly as much choice as there is in the USA. Flipping through the channels back home, you'll likely have hundreds to choose from, including broadcast, cable, and local TV. No matter what you feel like watching, you can probably find it. From old sitcom reruns to cooking competitions, where one guy has to make souffle wearing lobster claws, to mind-bending serialized dramas. But here, your choice is 4 channels. That's because in North Korea, they all come from the same source. TV in the United States is mostly driven by competition. Everyone is trying to get a leg up on the other channels with bigger, bolder, more exciting shows. But in North Korea, television, like everything else, is tightly controlled by the government. Every broadcast serves one purpose: to promote patriotism, reinforce loyalty to Juche ideology, and glorify the ruling Kim family. North Korea has been run by one family since its communist revolution in 1949, and it is widely considered to be one of the strictest dictatorships in the world. But even dictators know how to keep their countrymen entertained, and the 4 channels have a surprisingly diverse array of shows. The most recent channel to be founded, Athletic Television, is the one that'll probably seem the most familiar. It's a sports channel much like ESPN back in the US, but with a big focus on North Korean athletes. Internal competitions are shown heavily, with narration emphasizing the strength and boldness of North Korean athletes. While North Korea does participate in some international competitions like the Olympics, they rarely perform well, so you're not expecting to see too many highlights from there. When there aren't live sports to air, Athletic Television keeps the action going with documentaries on past sporting events, because nothing says excitement like a replay of a weightlifting competition from 5 years ago. Surprisingly, the channel also features segments from Poto News, even though it originally aired elsewhere. But the further back in time you go, the more unusual North Korean programming tends to get. Ryongnam-son Television might have only gone on the air in its current incarnation in 2012, but it actually has roots dating back to 1971. Ryongnam-son Television produces and airs science documentaries, televised lectures, and language tutorials, including lessons in English, Russian, and Chinese. This focus on language learning makes it unique among North Korean state-run channels. In fact, much of Ryongnam-son's programming is in English, making it the closest thing North Korea has to PBS, if PBS were government-controlled and heavily censored. But that's not what TV is for. It's for having fun, right? North Koreans need to be kept entertained, and Mansudae Television has them covered. Unlike entertainment channels in most countries, this officially sanctioned network, which launched in 1973, only operates during specific hours, 12 hours a week, exclusively on Saturdays and Sundays. With such limited airtime, watching TV in North Korea becomes more of a collective event. Families gather around their televisions to watch state-approved North Korean films, carefully censored foreign movies, and original shows, all meticulously designed to reinforce patriotism and national unity. And as it turns out, this controlled form of entertainment is so popular that the North Korean government has decided to turn it into a pay service. But the granddaddy of North Korean TV has a very different vibe. Have you ever had a great video idea, but you didn't know how to get started? You're not alone. So many people reach out to me wanting to know how to make a great video they'd be proud to share with friends, family, or even the whole internet. And I finally have an easy answer for them. InVideo AI. Just type in your idea, whether it's a recipe, a commercial, or a movie trailer, and watch as it instantly transforms into a complete video. You can even make changes using simple text commands like add my voice or make the video more engaging. It's intuitive, seamless, and seriously game-changing. Unlike traditional video tools that are complicated and only solve part of the problem, InVideo AI is your creative partner, doing all the heavy lifting while you stay focused on your vision.
Here, the coral reefs burst with vibrancy, illuminated by the sun's gentle rays. Among the coral branches, tropical fish dance in a mesmerizing display of colors and patterns.
It removes friction and puts you in the driver's seat, giving you the freedom to bring your ideas to life without stress. You can try InVideo AI for free. This will save you hundreds of dollars that you would otherwise spend on editing, animating, and other production costs. So click the link and start creating your dream videos today. Korean Central Television has been running since 1963, but actually operated under different names since 1953, just after the Korean War. Developed by Kim Il-sung and his loyal team, it's first and foremost a news channel, often broadcasting major events like the sessions of the Workers' Party of Korea Congress. Today it broadcasts for around 13 hours daily, beginning its morning programming with playing of the North Korean national anthem. From there, it has a heavy emphasis on patriotic programming, with a variety of scripted and unscripted TV, all emphasizing the Juche ideology. While it still has this focus, in recent years it's begun modernizing its offerings, and it aims to provide more entertainment to younger North Koreans. Well, that's the tale of the tape for North Korean TV, and now it's time to sit back and see what's on. You wonder if they have soap operas, but as you flip through the channels, you quickly realize you are not prepared for just how strange things are about to get. One of the strangest things you could ever watch on North Korean TV was a concert celebrating the current leader Kim Jong-un in 2012. It remains one of the most watched pieces of entertainment to ever come out of the Hermit Kingdom, and that's because some very famous faces showed up to celebrate the leader of the Workers' Party. Disney icons like Mickey and Minnie Mouse, along with Winnie the Pooh, took to the stage, dancing as scenes from Disney movies played in the background. For North Korean children, it was a thrilling spectacle and baffling one because one question hung over the whole proceeding: how did North Korea get Disney to approve any of this? The easy answer is they didn't. This was completely off the books, the North Korean version of all those creepy guys dressed up as Elmo and Goofy offering expensive pictures in Times Square. This bootleg performance was classic copyright infringement, and Disney likely could have sued pretty easily if they had a chance in a venue that wasn't North Korea. No company would decide to head to North Korea and try a civil case, and North Korea is not going to honor any judgments from a foreign court. So dance on, Minnie, for Juche. But this only happened once, and it gets odder from there. There's one common theme throughout North Korean television, and that is patriotism. No matter what channel you turn to, it feels like the message is the same. North Korea, good. South Korea and America, bad. Follow the Kim family in the way of the Juche. And that's for a good reason, because all the programming in North Korea comes from the same source, the Propaganda and Agitation Department of the Central Committee. It's responsible for creating and spreading propaganda across North Korea. And there is no better way to spread propaganda than TV. In some cases, North Korean TV doesn't even try to hide that it's propaganda. The networks have created a lot of non-fiction content, including possibly the most specific and boring show ever created, Let's Trim Our Hair in Accordance with the Socialist Lifestyle. That's exactly what it sounds like, a documentary-style program that followed people getting haircuts. It aired between 2004 and 2005, and it aimed to ensure every citizen knew how to properly maintain their state-approved hairstyles, because in North Korea, everything is regulated, even hair. Government propaganda has long fought a battle against Western influence, and that included haircuts and fashion that were deemed to be too casual. This included some seriously strange beliefs, like the idea that long hair was associated with lower intelligence, and those who didn't have one of their approved hairstyles could face strict punishments for antisocial behavior. But they're not completely heartless in NK. They put a helpful tutorial on TV so you could watch a guy get a haircut. But as the show went on, it took a disturbing turn. Candid images of men with unacceptable haircuts were broadcast for all to see, before the voiceover absolutely roasted them for their lack of socialist style. But it didn't stop there. These unsuspecting offenders were confronted on camera and forced to explain their lack of conformity. Okay, so maybe that does sound a little bit entertaining, especially if Chopped isn't an option there. And in terms of fictional content, well, you're going to be searching for a while. Creative output is strictly regulated in North Korea, with the government having to approve just about everything that makes the public eye. It's not a surprise, then, that fiction writing isn't big business there. That's created a huge market for documentaries covering daily life in North Korea from an idealized standpoint. Documentaries can cover just about everything in the local culture, from everyday Joes going about their job and making the party proud, to more specialized topics like the women's soccer team's training process. Everything you watch has the same general tone, optimistic, cheery, and endlessly patriotic. You half expect the narrator to tell you that you too are making the party proud just by watching the appropriate TV shows. There's even a variety comedy show, It's So Funny, that manages to combine physical comedy with patriotic reminders. And it's been running since the 1970s. There's another element to North Korean television, and it's a big one: history. North Korea is incredibly proud of its revolution, its performance during the war, and its ability to maintain its communist system for over 70 years uninterrupted. And if you're wondering, wait, didn't they fail in their goal of conquering South Korea? Well, that's not an opinion you'll see on North Korean television, so you keep that to yourself. One of the biggest themes you'll see as you watch historic documentaries and docudramas is that just about everyone celebrates the bravery of the people involved, and it does not show any of the warts. And many of them, they don't take place in modern North Korea at all. All of Korean history is fodder for North Korean television, as they consider themselves the rightful government of all of the Korean peninsula, as does South Korea actually. Neither country has given an inch in 70 years, and that means the historical programs on NKTV often go back centuries, as you'll see programs set around the March 1st movement, the rebellion against Japanese colonial rule that launched in 1919 and helped pave the way to Korean independence. And if your tastes are more toward historic war and adventure, well, the drama Kai Wo-hyang is one of the most ambitious dramas to make it to North Korean TV. It's set in the Imjin War in the 16th century, which saw Korea fend off a pair of invasions by Japan. Yes, that Japan. You'll notice some scars still run deep. And if there's one thing that North and South Korea might agree on, it's that they definitely have not forgiven Japan. The Japanese occupation during World War II is one of the most brutal periods of the country's history, with countless horrific war crimes being committed against the civilian population. While South Korea has been active in demanding reparations from Japan, North Korea's lack of diplomatic recognition means that it mostly menaces Japan with military drills and delivers devastating propaganda blows on its local airwaves. And one of its most popular TV shows brings that disturbing hostility to life in a way that is as bizarre as it is unsettling. Bulletproof Wall, which debuted in 2015, is a historical thriller set in the 1940s Japanese occupation, combining reenactments with narration. It has some strange touches, including a narration that doesn't always match what's portrayed on the screen. But its visual style is what jumps out to people the most. Several episodes contain CGI animated action scenes, recreating the battles with animation that definitely doesn't look state-of-the-art. Also, many Russian actors are cast in key roles, despite the characters being entirely Korean and Japanese. But that hasn't stopped the patriotic show from being one of North Korea's most famous. And then, there is one thing that North Korean television likes to talk about more than war, and that is farming. Sowing the fields isn't exactly edge-of-your-seat television. In America, it's rare to see a drama centered around farm work, unless of course it's just the backdrop for a rogue cowboy to gun down some outlaws. But one of North Korea's proudest points of propaganda is its shift to a largely agricultural, self-sustaining society. Well, mostly self-sustaining. Food here is pretty sparse, if the meals delivered to your hotel room have been any indication, and visitors usually get the best of the lot. But Juche stands for self-sufficiency, and its shift to collective farming is one of the biggest parts of the local programming. And it even serves as the center of a popular drama. A New Spring in Sokgaeul is a drama produced in either 1980 or 1992. That's right, the documentation of North Korean TV is so spotty there is a 12-year gap. It's also one of the few North Korean shows based on a fiction novel. It centers around the early days post-Juche as agricultural villages begin to be transformed into collective farms. While the show doesn't shy away from some of the hardships that occurred, like everything else in North Korean TV, it casts it as a necessary sacrifice for the glorious country that emerged. But man cannot live on non-fiction alone. While North Korea is largely cut off from the rest of the world, that is not the case for the Kim family. Kim Jong-un in particular is reportedly obsessed with American pop culture, and some of those elements have made their way over here. North Korea does have some scripted fiction dramas and sitcoms, and they fall into many of the same tropes that American shows do. They're just a little askew from what we know, and of course, contain the same themes of loyalty to the country, Juche, and the ruling family. And you're thinking, finally, something a little familiar. The drama Our Warm House, first released in 2000, takes place at Pyongyang Maternity Hospital and celebrates the birth of new life in the country's busiest hospital. But you notice that the doctors behave a lot more professionally than they do on American medical dramas. There hasn't been one midday hookup in the supply closet yet, and the genius doctor hasn't insulted anyone's appearance. Then there's Don't Wake Up Mom, a 2002 soap opera about a working couple balancing jobs and parenthood. Surprisingly, the dad actually seems competent. A stark contrast to the bumbling sitcom fathers often seen in American TV. In North Korea, there's a show for just about any approved role in society. The drama Coal Miner is about, you guessed it, what does seem to be missing is any sort of escape from the world of North Korea. While there was a brief boom in North Korean sci-fi writing in decades past, this kind of speculative writing is much more fraught than any other genre. While the writers portrayed in North Korea as destined for greatness, the authorities generally don't want the working people fantasizing beyond their current roles. It's hard to focus on your role in the coal mines when you're dreaming of the stars. So North Korean TV, both scripted and unscripted, tends to remain very grounded. But there's one big exception. It's time to dig into the very bizarre world of North Korean children's TV. Children's TV in the US usually tries to raise good, healthy, happy members of society. That was the purpose of beloved American shows like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Even today, shows like Bluey are praised for modeling good family interactions and conflict resolution. Of course, things have changed in other ways. The most popular show of the 2000s is about a sponge fry cook who drives his neighbor to madness. But generally, cartoons trying to be educational to some degree. And that's the same in North Korean shows too. You'll usually find the same ideals in North Korean children's programming that you do in the adult shows. They're just jazzed up a little with comedy and funny visuals. While most of the programming on North Korean television is appropriate for all ages, besides the war dramas, the odds are kids will find some of it a little dry and get bored quickly. Getting bored may not be patriotic, but it is inevitable. So the North Korean powers that be quickly figured out there is only one way to get kids' attentions: cute, colorful mascots. Possibly the most popular TV show to ever air in North Korea, Squirrel and Hedgehog, is a long-running animated series that originally aired from 1977 to 2013. However, it became so beloved and had so many episodes that instead of producing new ones, the network simply started airing reruns. Set on Flower Hill, the series follows Kim Seiji, a brave squirrel who, alongside his hedgehog best friend, fights to protect their village from the menacing Weasel Empire and the sinister residents of the Wolf's Den. Together, the squirrel, his family, and his buddies, and the village residents have many adventures. Sounds like fun, huh? While the art style makes it look like an all-ages kids series about funny animals, a quick look at it indicates it has more in common with darker, edgier animal tales like Watership Down. The interaction between the various animal villages is clearly supposed to represent the geopolitical climate surrounding North Korea. The show deals heavily with themes such as espionage and military training. That's right, those cute little critters are going to war, and the enemies aren't going to hold back. But then this concept might not seem as out of place to today's kids as it did in the 1970s. One of America's most popular cartoons, Avatar: The Last Airbender, begins with the genocide of the main character's tribe. But we're just scratching the surface of how strange kids' cartoons get in North Korea. North Korea has a fairly low budget for animation, which explains the crude animation on many of its shows. But it also explains how few episodes usually get produced. Squirrel and Hedgehog had over 30 episodes, which is a goldmine compared to most programming. Because of these limitations, old shows rarely disappear. Instead, they air on repeat for years. In the case of animated series, they're often repackaged into a clip show called Child Broadcast Time, which airs classic propaganda cartoons from the earliest days of North Korean animation. And if anyone remembers American propaganda cartoons, you know things are about to get weird. Cartoons used to be a lot edgier when animation was first starting to become a hit in the West. Icons like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny were much harsher when dealing with their enemies, often to the point of being murderous. And then there was the strange world of Betty Boop, a cartoon flapper out on the town who's pursued by a very attracted and hapless wolf as surreal misfortunes befell him. When it came to propaganda cartoons, there wasn't a kid alive in the 50s who wasn't aware that the Ruskies could nuke them at any time. You better get under that desk if the bomb is coming. But even if America went all out with surreal cartoons during the Cold War, North Korea may have us beat. No surprise, North Korean children's cartoons are all about defeating the American empire and proving their superiority against the West. Some even include educational messages, with a unique twist. One cartoon even teaches geometry by showing how a hapless North Korean boy fails to fend off an invasion because he couldn't calculate the proper angles to destroy American ships. It's just a dream, and then he wakes up to do his regular geometry homework. The lesson here, though, is clearly study hard or you might let the imperialists win. But this cartoon is wholesome enough, even if it's for the other side. But others get much more bizarre. Remember VeggieTales, the Christian cartoon in which singing vegetables reenact Bible stories? Well, North Korea has its own version, in which a pair of corn cobs encounter soldier potatoes and they have to fend off walking, talking plant diseases, which they do with martial arts. The VeggieTales never did that. Plenty of cartoons are full of strange conspiracies as well, such as the one that portrayed the United States as planning an invasion of North Korea using trained insects. Another uses adorable cat puppets and animation to show them defending their food supply from evil mice thieves and saboteurs. Except the defeat of the mice armies is shown in unflinching, extended, brutal violence. And they're not the only animals to get their moment to shine, if you call hard-boiled army training shining. One of the strangest North Korean cartoons of all time focuses on an unnamed frog, tasked with defending his plants from an invasion of insects. All well and good, maybe he'll fend them off with his long, fast tongue. Oh wait, no, he has a motorcycle, driven by his praying mantis girlfriend, and he also has a giant gun that can shoot multiple types of projectiles, and over the course of his cartoon, the frog fends off multiple waves of insect attacks and kills hundreds of them in graphic fashion. Hollywood would be confused by this frog, but they're also probably wondering how they can get into a multi-movie film franchise where the frog is voiced by Keanu Reeves. So once again, there is no escaping one central theme in North Korea. Whether you're a worker, an elderly citizen, or a child watching their very first TV show, the government ensures that your mind is always on patriotism, loyalty, and the constant readiness to defend your country. But before you can dwell on that thought for too long, a knock on the door interrupts your TV time. That must be your guide. And not thankfully a gun-toting frog. What do you think about North Korean TV? Is it just state-controlled propaganda? Or is there more to it than meets the eye? Let us know in the comments below. Want to know more about life under North Korean rule? Check out North Korea's most unbelievable laws. And if you want to know about how it's possible to get into trouble on the other side of the DMZ, why not watch this? Why this American streamer is facing prison in South Korea.